Welcome to the St. Charles County Council meeting. I'd like to introduce Bob Snur, who will provide our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Joe Cronin.
Will you pray with me, please? Father in heaven, we pause right now and we acknowledge your presence here. And Father, we thank you for the way that you bless us as a nation and as a people's God. And Father, we just ask your blessing on our county. And Father, for those who lead us, both nationally in our state and here in our local county, Father, we just ask your blessing on these people who represent us. And thank them, Father, for their service. God, we just pause and we just want to ask that you be with us this evening, Father, that the words that are said and things that are done here this evening are pleasing in your sight. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Donna, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Joe Cronin.
Present.
Councilmember Joe Brazel. Councilmember Dave Hammond.
Present.
Councilmember Terry Hollander.
Present.
Councilmember Nancy Matheny.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Klinghammer.
Present.
Councilmember John White.
Here.
Next on our agenda is public comments. This allows speakers to approach the council on any topic. However, once a topic is open for discussion, only 6 speakers are allowed, alternating pro and con views. Each speaker has a limit of 3 minutes, and please remember to fill out a speaker's card. Public comments.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, members of the County Council. A.C. Dinoff, County resident. What I'd like to talk to you tonight is, on your agenda is an election bid in the amount of $44,000 to Traction Masters LLC, and that's for delivering of election equipment to the various 121 precincts throughout the county. First of all, what needs to be looked at is an outside vendor versus using our pool employees that are temporary employees at the election authority during the high cycles of elections. The state law, Chapter 115, requires that a bipartisan team deliver this equipment and these machines to the various schools and public buildings throughout the county's 121 precincts. Security is of essence in the times of school shootings in Connecticut that we want to avoid here in St. Charles County. Background checks of this company's employees must be adhered to, which in this case this bid does not provide for. Insurance has not been received or disclosed by the county in the bid process, which is of major concern. And the key access to public buildings, public schools, parochial schools, churches, and other entities that have a high priority for security. I'm proposing, instead of using the $44,000 of taxpayer dollars that we use the current temporary employees at the election authority, we allocate their time. And basically, instead of the $44,000, it's going to cost taxpayers $450. And that's for an additional rental of rental vehicles, $50 per day times 3 days, which would be $450. This can be attributed with the current temporary employees at the election authority. And basically save charging the political subdivisions, which has been a nature of anywhere from $183,000 according to our county auditor to $750,000 from the former deputy director of the election authority, claims that we're overcharging the political subdivisions for administrator of elections, sometimes 6, 7, 8, and 9% instead of the 5% maximum allowed by law. This can be handled internally, and I think you received an email from some people who are in the trenches at the election authority that do this on a daily basis, and I would recommend that this council study that to save taxpayer money, to provide security for public schools, parochial schools, and churches, to make sure that we have a background check and to make sure that a bipartisan team delivers that election equipment, to make sure that insurance is in place so we don't lose an election machine off a truck and it gets run over by 20 vehicles, and the ballots go flying around the neighborhood. And the last thing is that the key issue. You know, you give the keys. In our contract, we say that the election authority is going to be in charge of that key, but when you pass it on and you don't make up to your word and you pass it on, it allows for other people to copy that key. So those are the things to consider in this contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on an election issue? Okay, seeing none. Another topic? Sure, ma'am. That's all right.
Hi, my name is Johanna Wortman. I'm Vice President of People First of St. Charles. I'm here to remind you March is Disability Awareness Month. The members of People First are very excited to let you know this is our 4th annual Clean Up Your Language campaign funded by the DDRB. We hope that you have continued to use People First language throughout this year. People with disabilities are part of our every community we live and work and are active contributors, members of St. Charles community. Keeping our message of Clean Up Your Language campaign fresh, we would like to present you with this year's poster as well as bookmarks that you can help use People First language. It's important for everyone to use clean and fresh People First language. So I would also like to present to you some fresh mints to help you to remember how important disability awareness is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have to give it a dot there. It's in our office. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other public comments? Mr. Dino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be real brief. E.C. Dinoff again, county resident. On your agenda tonight is four table bids from the 22513 agenda, one dealing with 5 single axle dump trucks, 3 axle tandem axle dump trucks, 5 Ford Fusion S cars for the county fleet, and 4 4x4 2013 Ford Explorer sport utility vehicle for the county fleet. We all talk about taking care of our small businesses and taking care of the community, and I think that this county council needs to start with economic development right here in this room and make sure that we buy from our families that generate the sales tax and generate the income to provide county services and county public safety. A call to the 2 bidders. The finance director is recommending that you go with the 5 Ford Fusions for $83,615 to Joe Mockins Ford in Columbia, which is in the middle of the state, and the Ford Explorers to Joe Mockins Ford in the amount of $101,596. I called the principals of Marshall Ford and Pudman Ford and talked to their fleet managers today, and there is some type of difference in the figures, and there were some mistakes made, and I know these dealerships want to take anywhere from $500 to $750 off these 2 bids of the Ford Fusion S cars and the Ford Explorers that are on the agenda tonight, which would bring that down to basically about $125 difference between the car from Joe Mockins Ford and either Pudman or Marshall Ford. By the time that you pay the employee and pay for the gas and the expense of the employee's hourly salary to go to Columbia to pick up the vehicles, Plus, we want to build a service relationship in case something goes wrong with the transmission or service issues during the warranty period. I would ask that you throw out these 2 bids for the 5 Ford Fusions S and the 4 2013 Ford Explorers. Since they're going in the county fleet, there's not a necessity. They don't deal with public safety. I'd ask that you throw these bids out, that the county council reissue the bids so that the mistakes can be corrected, so that taxpayers win, the county wins, and that we take care of our businesses right here at home. Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in public comments? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Next on our agenda is the oral report from our county executive.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As all of you know, the charter requires the county executive to report to you, at least annually, on the state of the county, for lack of a better term. And we usually do this by making a short presentation. I'm going to try to keep it short and leave plenty of time for questions if you, in fact, have them. By the way, before I get started, I need to thank Colleen McAtee, our new communications person, for putting this together. I think you'll see that she's done a good job. Getting around is easier, and of course we've spent plenty of time talking about page 364 extension. We've had this discussion this evening about using local businesses, and one of the added good things about this is that it was a local company who got the bid, so it will be people from this region, a lot of them from St. Charles County, doing this work. We're real proud of the fact we got the Local Government Achievement Award for putting this together. And other road improvements, you see them there. Salt River Road extension, I think, has really helped people in Mr. Cronin's district, for sure, get around the county, especially if they're headed to North St. Louis. You see other road projects there that have been completed. Projects underway include the Blanchette Bridge, and pretty amazing how much they've gotten done on that already. I mean, I wondered if they could get that done in a year, but if they keep going the way they have, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. And we got the Gateway Green Light program, which I think people are really going to appreciate when we get into effect in terms of keeping traffic moving countywide and coordinating between the various cities. And of course, we got the new Daniel Boone Bridge, which they have begun to work on. We have, of course, the taxpayers to thank for reapproving the 1/2 cent transportation sales tax. Received 77% of the vote in August. I think it's a great sign that the confidence that people have in our road board, job that John Greifsue does, the job that you do in reviewing these various road recommendations. Shows you even in a conservative county like St. Charles, where people don't much like taxes, to get 77% on something like this is amazing, and it just shows you that if you promise and deliver, people will continue to reward you and allow you to continue to tax them. The economy is on the upswing. This is simply shows the permitted housing units countywide over the last 12 years. It's not anything to be overjoyed about, but we are, as you can see, moving in the right direction. And hopefully that upward trend will continue and will in fact accelerate. And I'm not sure we're ever going to get back to 2002, 2004 levels, but it would certainly be nice to get back to the 2000 level, and that would be I think that's within the realm of possibility in the next few years. 5.8% unemployment rate for the last month of 2012. That obviously compares very well with the national and state. I think it's a credit to our people here in St. Charles County. They have good skills. They're out there finding the jobs that are available. And, you know, our Career Center obviously has provided help to many of those folks. It's going to help, I think, this expansion of the GM is going to bring additional jobs. And we're very, very hopeful that along with the additional jobs at GM, there's going to be some providers, some vendors that will, in fact, move to the Wentzville area and provide the various parts and everything that the GM plant uses. Town Park opened this year. It's unique, has some unique characteristics you can see there. Remember, this is the first week that I was on, that I had Joanne's job. I think maybe the third day was when the pink plantation burned down. Yeah. But as you know, with the proceeds from the insurance company, we took the same bricks and we built an identical version. And I think it's you know, it's something that schools are using to teach about the tobacco culture in that part of the county and the plantation system and so forth. So we're very proud of Town Park. We're also proud of Matson Hill Park, New Trail, Bromelsick. You know, completed phase 3. In fact, we're looking at phase 4. New attractions at the Family Arena. Maybe some of you heard my comments on TV lately. The Family Arena is not, you know, if we had it to do over again, I would hope that this council, and I know this executive, would not think that entertainment is really an area for a county government to get involved in. But you know the history of the Family Arena, and that is your predecessors were told that, you know, we could build it and somebody else could run it, pay the mortgage, and we would be providing a great service to the people. Well, I think we are providing a great service, and it definitely is a plus to have it. But the people who originally were supposed to run it, you know, went bankrupt. You know, we had a fairly good year this year, but we still lost a little money. So we do the best we can, and I think you almost have to look at it as more of like a park than a business. We don't make money on our parks either, but they're an important part of the quality of life in the county. And I think it's the same way with the Family Arena. We're going to continue to work our tails off to try to make money. And I think that with Missouri Monsters, the St. Charles Chill, things are definitely looking up. I hope next year I can report that we made money on the arena. We're developing a whole new mapping system, new GIS mapping system this year. If you like maps, you can get on our website and find out a whole lot about St. Charles County that you didn't know. Aerial views, voting information, zip code zones, parcel information, and more. So that's a very helpful tool, I think, for people that are involved in real estate, certain other professions. I'm sure marketing people take advantage of it, and we want to make sure that that constituents know it's available. Community development, I think it's very, very important that we keep enforcing our codes. We make sure that the new housing is safe, and we make sure that existing housing is properly maintained. You can see we demolished 27 condemned properties. We've received very high ratings for building codes and inspection personnel. And of course, again, people are very, very concerned about property values. And the one thing that we have control over is how we enforce these things. And the more we enforce them, I think the more it's going to keep property values up. We have the community development. We have the Home St. Charles program, assisted 15 first-time home buyers. We've used CDBG funds to provide home improvement loans. We provide indigent funds for the homeless of the county. And I think we've discussed this at budget time, but there still is a state statute that makes us responsible for indigency. And you know, until that's changed, I think we're doing the right thing by basically contracting with people who are in this business and who know the best way to distribute this money. In many cases, know who deserves it, who doesn't. Back in the good old days when Don was the county commissioner, people who were indigent would simply show up at meetings like this, and they'd have a story. And the county commissioners would give them money, or they wouldn't give them money. When we receive requests like that now, we refer them to professional agencies. Obviously, you know, law enforcement is absolutely essential to the future of this county. People will continue to move here only as long as we have good schools and safe neighborhoods. That's always been my theory. And you can see here that our Sheriff's Department continues to do a very good job. The 14 crimes per 1,000 people is just very, very low, and we intend to do everything we can to keep it that low. Continue to battle drugs, and of course the council passed several ordinances dealing with new drugs that are out there. We continue to work with the Metro Air Support and Homeland Security. We have use of this helicopter, and I'm told it's been put to good use on many different occasions. You all passed the ordinance similar to the one in Manchester, Missouri, and at this time, anyway, the Federal Circuit Court has ruled in our favor. That's an issue that may very well go to the U.S. Supreme Court, but right now, it's my understanding that our ordinance is in effect. And of course, the new countywide emergency radio communication system, which again, if you've been following this all started with the federal government deciding to sell all our bandwidth and make most of our radios obsolete. And rather than have each individual jurisdiction deal with that, we thought that the taxpayers would save money if we dealt with it county-wide, and also if we worked with St. Louis County and Jefferson County to put this together, and we have. And I think you'd be able to point to substantial savings that we've been able to recognize. We're just about to the point now where we've identified every location. I think there's 2 yet to be finalized, but hopefully after that's done, we'll be moving forward with construction. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about the towers, and you know, the fact of the matter is, when this is finished, it's going to be an important asset for our first responders, for public safety, to keep the crime rates low, and it's something that all of you realize that we have to do. Healthy communities. St. Charles County ranked among the healthiest counties in Missouri for the 3rd year in a row. Of course, I'm not sure that's the result of anything that county government does. I would like to think it is, and we certainly do our part, but that's, we all know, that's a function of we have good people in this county who don't abuse drugs like they do some other places, who don't abuse alcohol like they do a lot of other places, who take care of themselves and who exercise and who don't smoke and who do a lot of other things and make private choices that helps us be among the lowest. But what county government can do is to encourage those things and those good habits and discourage the bad ones. And of course, the Division of Humane Services there, you can get an appreciation of the various things we do there. Revenue expenses, you can see again, we had a over 5.5% increase over 2011 in our sales tax collection. We've kept our property tax rate the same since 1999, and we're recommending that we do that again. I think that's one of the bills for first reading tonight. We did a 3% employee raise in 2012, and of course that was way overdue because there were several years we were not able to give a raise. And I know there's a lot of consternation about the federal government cutting its budget 2.5%, and I believe, Bob, would we cut ours 6% in 2000? Almost 6%. 6%. And you know, it wasn't easy, and yes, there was some unfortunate situations, and some people had to be laid off, and some people had to work harder, and we had to give up some things, and we had to make some adjustments and everything. But you know, that's the nature of our local government in the state. We can't simply borrow. We've got to live within our means, and we were able to go through a 6% reduction. Now, you know, times are getting better, the revenues are increasing, and we will replace some of these positions that we eliminated. But you know, there's probably some others we won't replace, because we found out the hard way that, you know, maybe we can do this with a few less folks. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the next year. If the economy continues to be strong, I think we will be in good shape, but a lot of that is, of course, beyond our control. One of the big advantages we have is we're in loggers. You know, these pension costs are killing places like the city of St. Louis, who just can't say no to their unions and to the public employees who have, over the years, gotten these pension costs. The mayor told me what the difference. I think he told me that their pension costs are 6 times greater now than they were when he first became mayor 8 years ago. Our pension costs are fixed because we're in loggers, and even when drastic things happen in loggers, they can only increase you 1% a year or decrease you 1% a year. So, you know, that when you look at Illinois, when you look at the city of St. Louis, you know, we've got our pension cost under control, and that's at least one problem we don't have. Obviously, medical costs are increasing. We still have the compression problem, and we fixed half of that last year. And again, if the economy continues to improve, we'll hopefully fix the rest of it this year. 60% of our budget is sales tax. And this doesn't show you the amount of sales tax, this shows you the growth. And again, if you look back in 1993, it was growing at 12% a year. That went down to a negative 3% in 2009. Now we're back up to about a 6%, almost a 6% growth from last year. So again, we have to react to this. When 61% of our budget is sales tax, you can see that there's been times we've had to really cut back, and then there's times where we can actually look at improving our services. Looking ahead, phase 3 of Page. Again, we've talked a lot about that the last few months, so I'm not going to go into any great detail there. This simply shows the various improvements that will be made, and as I said last meeting, or maybe the meeting before that, things could not have worked out better. Everything came back better than we expected, better than we'd hoped for. And again, the fact that we got a local contractor makes it even better. I-70 corridor initiatives. This is going to be a continuing emphasis. John Greifsue did a study over the last several years to establish the importance of the I-70 corridor from an economic standpoint in this county. And what we're concerned about is, if you know, when I was a young kid, the Rock Road in St. Charles was a thriving commercial corridor. You know, when I was a teenager, and even more recently, the I-70 North corridor was a thriving. And both of those corridors have fallen on hard times. We're not there yet, but what we're interested in is what do we have to do to make sure that our I-70 corridor doesn't suffer the same fate. And 50% of the sales tax collected in this county is collected 1 mile either side of I-70. 48% of the jobs in this county are 1 mile either side of I-70. And over 25% of the ground in that corridor is not yet developed. And 5% of it is basically vacant. It's existing buildings that are boarded up. So again, that's not a problem now, but we don't want it to become a problem. So we're looking at these one-way outer roads. We're looking at anything we can do to improve access to the businesses along that route. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about that as we proceed. The school's mental health and community task force, you've received an interim report from them. They will continue to work with schools to put out information about best practices on safety. And of course, we're going to have to start working as soon as we can to make whatever changes we need to make to accommodate the new police department that will be in effect in January 2015. We're going to make those changes without using any general revenue. We're going to have to look at locations and where's the best place to have the remaining sheriff's duties, whether it's at the existing place or down closer to the courthouse, where his people will be continuing to serve as bailiffs and process servers. So we're going to have to look at facilities, and we're going to have to be ready for that change when it occurs. I had some people come and talk to me, I think it was that same year we had the 6% cut in our budget, about various things that St. Louis County is doing for its veterans. And you know, we looked at that. We actually talked to a person from St. Louis County about some of the things they were doing. And we had to tell them, hey, you know, this would be great, but we just can't, we're just not in a position to take on any additional responsibilities. Well, now that things are looking better, this is one of the things I want to look at, and we'll hopefully be bringing you sometime this year a proposal on some things we can do, not to build additional statues and monuments. Those are great, and we've got a lot of good ones, but to deal with the young men and women who are coming back from Iraq and Iran, to make sure that they and Gulf War veterans and even some Vietnam veterans, to make sure that they know what's available and to help them get the things that they are entitled to. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay. Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to accept and approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Are there any items that were removed from the consent agenda in the last meeting that would be brought up, taken off the table for this one?
I would like to make a motion to take off the highway and fleet management and parks, and to discuss and or vote on those 3 items possible tonight.
Okay, I guess I need a motion and a second.
I'll second his motion.
Okay. Right. So up for discussion is the highway and fleet management bids, which we had discussed last time. Mr. Cronin?
Mr. Spalding was kind enough from the Highway Department to remind us that the truck center, who was a low bid on the highway dump truck bids, has a facility in St. Charles County and St. Peters where they actually do servicing and build those trucks. So I have no objections to that bid now going to the low bidder, since knowing that they do employ people and pay taxes in this county. And I'd like to recommend we approve that one.
Second, Patrick.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess the next one is the fleet management, Ford Fusions and Ford Explorers. Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. There's still a Parks and Recreation item. Does anyone want to bring that off the table?
I'd like to make a motion to bring that to a vote as well, and if there's if folks want to discuss it, we sure can discuss it.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Cronin. Discussion of the Parks and Recreation.
I would like to thank Betty Ann Kramer for taking the time to explain this project to me, but I still have reservations about the safety of it and the size of it, and because of that, I do not plan on supporting it because it is in my district. It's a 164-foot boat dock without a safety rail on about a 1-acre pond. I know there'll be little kids and school kids walking on it, and I have some safety concerns as well as the size of it. It is in my district, and for that reason, I'd like to have the ability to vote against it. I did bring up some, and I sent this on, some similar type dock systems the Missouri Department of Conservation uses that I think are much safer because they have safety rails on them. But I respect Ms. Jan Kramer's work with the Parks Department, and I just want to respectfully and amicably say I disagree with the decision to put this type of dock system in this park.
Okay, all those in favor of the Parks and Recreation consent agenda item, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay.
Okay.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay. Next is the bills for introduction. First, we have bill number 3952.
Bill number 3952, requested by Wayne Anthony, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance amending section 500.094, ordinances of St. Charles County, entitled Levels of Contamination Due to Production of Methamphetamine and Protocols for Abating under the Property Maintenance Code of St. Charles County.
Okay. Any questions or comments on bill 3952? Okay, seeing none, please read bill number 3953.
Bill number 3953, requested by Craig Dykowski, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute the break-in limited access license with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for construction of the Pittman Loop Road and Route A connection.
Questions or comments on bill 3953? Okay, next bill for introduction is bill number 3954.
Bill number 3954, requested by Hope Woodson, sponsored by Terry Hollander, an ordinance authorizing execution of the letter of understanding with the Community and Children's Resource Board and further amending Ordinance 12-096 of St. Charles County, Missouri by providing an associated supplemental appropriation of $4,383.75 to the budget of the Department of Community Health and the Environment for this purpose.
Questions, comments on bill 3954? Seeing none, introduce bill number 3955.
Bill number 3955, requested by Sheriff Tom Neer, sponsored by Terry Hollander, an ordinance authorizing execution of an agreement for the use of property for countywide law enforcement training with the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board of St. Charles County.
Questions, comments on bill 3955? Yes.
I think the record administration has some information about that.
Ms. Lycum.
This is a kind of a historic action for the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board. As you know, they normally fund services for people with developmental disabilities, but because of some needs that they had, they recently purchased a property from the City of St. Charles School District. And while part of that project has to be demolished, they heard of a need that we had to do the MACTEC, the school training for law enforcement, and also some work for our SWAT team. And they very kindly stepped forward and offered to delay the destruction of their building and to allow its use for a year-long training exercise by the county. And so we just want to express our appreciation to them.
I go by there every day, and the last several weeks there's been a large amount of activity there with, our Sheriff's Department and St. Louis County Sheriff's Department, or police. So, thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Next would be Bill number 3956 for introduction, please.
Bill number 3956, requested by Bob Schnur, sponsored by Council as a whole, an ordinance authorizing the non-binding projected tax rates of the county for the General Revenue Fund and for various special funds of and for the County of St. Charles, Missouri for the year 2013 in order to develop the notice of projected tax liability to accompany the assessor's notice of assessed value, all as mandated by Senate Bill 711, and further instituting the reauthorization and extension of the transportation sales tax approved by the voters at the August 7, 2012 election.
Okay, questions or comments? I believe this is establishing the property tax rate for the county. Is that correct?
It's a projection of the bill that you'll do this fall.
Okay.
And back 4 years ago now, the Missouri legislature passed this so that in the spring, early summer, the taxpayers get a projection of what each jurisdiction thinks the tax rate will be, so that they are on notice and have the ability then hopefully to lobby you or to raise issues if they see something about their taxes going up or their tax rates going up, actually. So,
okay. Yes,
it's just one question that I don't quite understand the format still. That we've got one ordinance that's doing two things. One, projecting the revenues that are going to come in for the property taxes, but then it's also the reauthorization of the sales tax. So why did we combine those two different functions into one ordinance?
They're both tax related. They're both clearly set out as
it's just hard. It's hard to follow when they're not two things that they're two separate things, and putting them all together in one. I had to read the title about 4 times just to figure out what it is that we're doing. I think it'd be a lot easier and more transparent for the citizens to understand when we're doing things if we have one subject matter per ordinance. That's just, I'm used to reading these things. I had to read it 4 times to figure out what it said. I just think it would be a lot easier for everyone to understand if it was 2 separate ideas, 2 separate ordinances.
County Executive.
Mr. Klinghammer, I understand your point, but just to give you an example, this bill sets 3 different property tax rates. It sets one for general revenue, it sets one for the highway, and it sets one for dispatch and alarm. Okay, right. So we got 3 rates there in one bill. So, are you saying that we should have a separate bill for each of those?
One of them all has to do with property tax rates, and I understand that, but throwing the sales tax one in also, it seems to me a bit confusing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments on Bill 3956? Seeing none, any tabled bills to come off the table? Okay, seeing no motion, that means the next thing is announcements.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would like to present you with a letter. It is addressed to you as well as to the members of the St. Charles County Council and County Executive Steve Ellman. This letter is to serve as notice that I am resigning my position as County Council Representative for District 3, effective immediately. It's really been an honor and a privilege to work with all of you, and as well as the administration, Mr. Ellman, Joanne Lycum, Don Bamer, Jennifer George, everyone, Donna and Carol. For personal reasons, my husband and I have chosen to move to a smaller home so that we have less outdoor care and maintenance. It was a long-term plan, but an opportunity came up, and so we grabbed it and decided the time was now. So with a heavy heart, I want to thank you all for your hard work, your stubbornness, the fights, the camaraderie, and the friendship.
Thank you. Speaking for the entire council, we will miss you greatly, Nancy. You have served the county and the council in a tremendous fashion these last X number of years.
Thank you.
Yes, certainly.
My only disappointment is we don't have a room full of people.
Yes.
To hear what I'm going to say and what I think. I think everybody shares my thoughts, and you really have been a special member of the council, and I believe you've, by your example, have really helped raise the level of debate and just the tone and the tenor of the debate. And I think you're a good example of how, people can disagree without being disagreeable. And most of the people have always done that on this council, but there's been a few exceptions a few times, and I thought that was unfortunate. And I don't think we've had anything like that happen since I've been in this chair. And I think one of the reasons is because you're in that chair. And I hope we can find someone equally competent to take your place. I'll take this opportunity to say that for the next week or so, I'll be wanting to hear from anybody who'd like to be considered as a replacement. And I'll pray that we find somebody half as good as you. So good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, on that somewhat sad note, we end this meeting. Thank you.